WCBI News at 10 starts now.
Well, thanks for staying up late with us tonight. Finding ways to improve neighborhoods and to make them safer for residents. That was the goal during a community meeting tonight in Ward 2. And Quentin, that's where you were tonight. What did they have to say out there?
Well, it was Ward 2 Councilman Joseph Miggins who called tonight's meeting. He said he wanted to hear from his residents about some of their biggest needs and problems that they believe are plaguing the community. Now, some of those concerns include a lack of communication with city leaders and finding more recreational activities for the city's youth to do. Now, residents suggest implementing a playground for the kids to play on, as well as forming youth league sporting events to give kids something to do. Mickens says now that he's heard from residents, he will now take the ideas and suggestions from tonight and take them before the city council and discuss things they can do to make these changes come to fruition.
Our biggest concern is that our children become fruitful and productive citizens, and in doing that, they have to have opportunities to do so. For instance, we need to have opportunities for employment. In the summer, especially internships for our children who are making that transition from high school into college or even prior to that. And we need to have our local businesses partnering with us so that we can have those varied opportunities.
Each ward has different needs, and so what we addressed tonight was the need of this particular ward. One of the things they wanted from us and from the city and the police department is they wanted more communication, and we're going to give them. We identified some issues that they have, and we're going to bring the people that can address them issues and let them address them issues.
And Quentin, this was the first meeting since the City Council decided to suspend Sergeant Alexander for 30 days after being pulled over by Starkville police on suspicion of a DUI. Now, did they address that at that meeting tonight?
Well, I asked Chief Fred Shelton for a comment, and he said because this is a personnel matter, he could not make a comment at this time. But I do want to point out, city leaders do plan to have a follow-up meeting from tonight sometime next month. All
right. Thank you very much, Quentin. We appreciate that. Well, breaking a months-long silence, the OCH Regional Medical Center opens discussion on a possible affiliation with a larger hospital. OCH received presentations from 3 hospitals interested in the affiliation, including Baptist, North Mississippi Medical Center, and the University of Mississippi Medical Center. The Board of Trustees, along with the medical personnel, discussed the 3 presentations in detail during a long executive session, trying to figure out which arrangement would provide more benefits to patients.
If we can make all of this happen, then we can be in a better position to make more services available at a lesser cost and help us on our bottom line and meet the expectations of what our community has.
Now, no decision was made, but the board will take up the issue again at a meeting next week, possibly make a decision then. Tonight, hundreds gathered in Tupelo's Gumtree Park to remember the life of Dejanay White and support her family. The community organized a candlelight vigil and balloon release in memory of the young girl that the Tupelo Middle School student was shot and killed last weekend. Well, pastors read scripture, prayed, and offered encouragement for the family.
They just keep the family in their prayers, just keep them lifted up. This is, a trying time for them. They'll just be there and pray for them, be there to encourage them.
White was reportedly shot by her brother after she refused to give him a video game controller. That incident happened in Monroe County and is still under investigation. Tupelo police are still searching for the gunman or gunmen in an afternoon shooting on South Veterans Boulevard, where 3 victims were taken to North Mississippi Medical Center. Detectives secured the scene, collected evidence, and were interviewing potential witnesses. They've not released a suspect description as of yet. Sources say that there was another shooting at Verona Car Wash earlier this afternoon that's believed to be connected to the Tupelo shooting. Well, no information has been released on the condition of the victims. Well, time now to get a first look at our forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson. Hey there, Keith.
Hey Scott, this evening things are pretty quiet. Earlier today our Alpha Insurance time lapse caught the setting sun, a few of those higher clouds coming on in, but no issues whatsoever. We are a bit on the chilly side this evening, not as cold as where we have been at this hour. Over the last couple of nights we are in the 40s. I think worst case scenario down into the low 40s across our region. So no frost, no freeze tonight. We do have some high clouds coming on in, a mix of sun and clouds on Friday. Back to around 70 during the course of the afternoon. A little bit warmer down to the south across central and southern Mississippi and Alabama. Your full weekend forecast in just a few minutes.
The November special election to fill Thad Cochran's seat is still months away, and so far there are no official candidates. They can't file papers until Cochran is out of office and the governor sets the rules for the race. But the campaigning is beginning even if we don't have all the players in place. Courtney Ann Jackson has the latest.
The campaign attacks are starting early, especially on the Republican side. Check out the Chris McDaniel campaign email from Wednesday night with the subject line, "She's a Democrat." He's referring to the governor's appointee, Cindy Hyde-Smith, and her previous party switch. She made this statement following Wednesday's announcement.
I've been conservative forever, and the good thing about that is I've been elected twice as a statewide, as a Republican, overwhelmingly.
Republican author and analyst Andy Taggart notes that he has great admiration for Cindy Hyde-Smith and says he has no doubt that she'll serve honorably as the state's first female U.S. senator. Still,
I'm significantly concerned about what happens in the rough and tumble of the campaign and in a special election in November in what is appropriately called a jungle primary, right? It's all against all in that race. And I really do have a significant concern about what would happen on Election Day and waking up the next morning and having deep regrets about not trying to do something about it myself.
Taggart expects he'll make a decision in the coming weeks once the seat becomes open at the beginning of April. I ask if he's concerned about the further fracturing of votes if he or anyone else enters the race.
I think it is certainly very plausible that other Democrats could get in the race. I think it's at least reasonably plausible that more Republicans could get into the race. So is the breaking up of all the vote a factor to consider? It certainly is, although in my mind the most important factor to consider is what's best for the state of Mississippi and for the United States of America, with the historic opportunity to have a new senator sent from Mississippi.
The governor will set the timeline for candidate filing. A well-known attorney is hanging out his shingle in Tupelo. Personal injury attorney Richard Schwartz is opening an office on East Main Street. Schwartz says he's getting more cases from North Mississippi, and the move will make it more convenient for his clients, so the new location makes sense.
Anytime you can be across the street from Elvis, you're in a great location, because I love that statue of Elvis. But we know the tradition and the history of Northeast Mississippi. I've been in Mississippi all my life. I'm born and raised here. And so I love Mississippi. I want to make Mississippi #1. And I know I can do that by helping people.
More than 120 employees work for Richard Schwartz and Associates statewide.
We've got the waxing crescent moon in our sight there in Vernon with our Alpha Insurance camera that will be setting after midnight. Temperatures will be moderating a little bit going forward. The full forecast is next.
Your first alert forecast with Chief Meteorologist Keith Gibson.
Some great weather out there today. This is our Alpha Insurance time lapse from downtown Tupelo. Look at the setting sun, all that sunshine, some of those high clouds coming in as we went throughout the course of the afternoon. Now, we will have some warmer weather as we start the weekend. Rain chances will remain low, and we are looking at a potentially bigger system as we get into the middle of next week. A better chance for a few thunderstorms and even some heavier rain in the region with this front and that area of low pressure. So that's something to watch out for in about a week's time. In the near term, though, rain chances on the low end of the spectrum. A 0 for tomorrow. I don't think we're going to have any showers, but there's a chance for a shower or storm this weekend and some lower chances into next week before we ramp things up by the end of next week. For your weekend, Saturday into the mid to upper 70s. Can't rule out a passing shower or storm. It will be breezy and mild. A little bit cooler on Sunday with still a low end chance for some rain. Now, we have some clouds trying to come on into the region. You see some showers showing up on radar. I think a lot, if not all of that, is staying in the clouds tonight. So there is a minuscule opportunity for a sprinkle later tonight, but most spots will not even see that. We are currently in the 40s, much warmer back to the west, and that warmer air will be coming our way as we go throughout the next 24 to 48 hours. Back up to around 70 tomorrow, and as we get into your Saturday into the mid to upper 70s here during the day, a little bit cooler during the evening, but it will be warmer than where we have been. Here's our forecast for tomorrow. Upper 60s north, low 70s farther to the south. And you can see with our forecast for tomorrow, variably cloudy, warming up around the region here. We'll average things out at about 70 degrees. So that's the way it's shaping up for tomorrow here across northeast Mississippi and parts of west Alabama. So that's the way it is. Let's go check it out zone by zone. A little bit redundant here. I don't know why I have these graphics back to back to back, but suffice to say we are looking at some 60s north, a little bit warmer down to the south into the 70s. And just for consistency, let's talk about west Alabama, right around 70 degrees. Okay, let's talk about the big picture. Futurecast, we've got some of those higher clouds drifting through the region tonight and tomorrow. But again, the air is pretty dry right now. I don't really expect a lot of rain. The better opportunity back to the north and northeast for tomorrow and even for most of Saturday. As this front sinks on into the region Saturday evening, there may be a better chance for a shower or storm. And then that front's going to hang up in the region, so can't rule out a little bit of rain on Sunday, but we will have more of a northeasterly breeze Sunday, so that should allow a little bit cooler air mass to invade. And that will stay with us into early next week as well. So Saturday should be the warmest day of the weekend, a little bit cooler Sunday and early next week. But as you can see with our 70 forecast, we will warm things up again for the middle of next week. More moisture, better chance for some showers and storms. Scott?
A former WCBI meteorologist gets a prestigious post. Kenneth Graham has been named the director of NOAA's National Hurricane Center in Miami. Graham was part of our weather team back in 1994. He later moved from the broadcast field to go to work for the National Weather Service Southern Region headquarters in Fort Worth, Texas. From there, he went to New Orleans, Baton Rouge office, where he oversaw operations connected to the Deepwater Horizon oil spill. Graham takes over the Hurricane Center April 1st, just in time to gear up for the 2018 hurricane season. Congratulations. Well, just in case you've had enough basketball, don't forget it's also baseball season. Robbie has conference action highlights later in sports.
Watching WCBI News at 10 with Scott Martin.
Welcome back, everyone. Healthy eating doesn't always have to taste bad. Tonight we learn about what can taste good when you're trying to shed those pounds and inches in our Health Talk with Baptist.
Hi, I'm Jacqueline Villapando, registered dietitian at Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle. Discover new and exciting tastes while trimming the fat and sodium from your cooking. The Academy of Nutrition and Dietetics encourages everyone to experiment with new combinations of herbs and spices as an alternative to salt. Have you ever wondered what the difference is between herbs and spices? Herbs, like basil and oregano, grow in moderate climates and are the fragrant leaves of plants. Spices, like cumin and paprika, grow in tropical areas and come from the bark, buds, fruit, roots, seeds, and stems of plants and trees. Innovative use of herbs and spices offers a real flavor advantage, especially if your goal is to cook with less fat and sodium. Keep a basic assortment of dried herbs and spices on hand for all types of cooking. Here are some examples of some herbs and spices that can be substituted for salt in certain recipes. Cinnamon, used in salads, vegetables, breads, and snacks. Dill weed and dill seed, used in fish, soups, salads, and vegetables. Ginger, used in soups, salads, vegetables, and meat. Oregano, used in soups, salads, vegetables, meats, and chicken. Parsley, used in salads, vegetables, fish, and meat. Rosemary, used in salads, vegetables, fish, and meats. Thyme, used in salads, vegetables, fish, and chicken. Remember to store dried herbs and spices in airtight containers in a cool, dark cupboard or pantry. Join us next time for Health Talk with Baptist.
Mail your topic suggestions to healthtalk@wcbi.com. Health Talk has been brought to you by Baptist Memorial Hospital, Golden Triangle.
Coming up, more from Kansas City as we close in on the tip-off of the Sweet 16 with Mississippi State, next in sports.
WCBI sports coverage of MSU women's basketball is brought to you by OCH Regional Medical Center, Advanced Medicine, Compassionate Care, and visit Columbus, the city that has it all.
It is back to business Friday night in Kansas City as Mississippi State's quest to return to the Final Four continues in the Sweet 16 against the NC State Wolfpack. WCBI's Tom Ebel is in KC and has more on the matchup. Tom?
Thank you, Robbie. Another year, another Sweet 16 for the Mississippi State Bulldogs, except this year is unlike years past. The Bulldogs are now the favorites instead of the underdogs. The Bulldogs appeared to be cool and confident heading into Friday's matchup, and the Bulldogs believe that their experience has given them the poise that's going to help them when the lights come on Friday night.
We know how to focus and lock in, especially on teams where people think that you're the underdog like we were last year. So. But I also think this year's different because we have a target on our back. We have a #1 seed by our name, so we have a job to do.
The Bulldogs prepare to face an NC State team that is not unlike Mississippi State teams of the past. The Wolfpack finished 4th in an ACC that fields 2 #1 seeds in Notre Dame and Louisville, and they're embracing an underdog role here in Kansas City facing the top seed Bulldogs.
They're a lot like us when we watch them play a little bit, just a tough, hard-nosed defensive team, hard to score against.
This team is they just battle. You know, we were down 25 points. We were down 26-1 to Louisville, and with 3 minutes left in the game, we were down 4 and had the ball. So, again, they're not going to quit.
Coach Schaefer believes the situation is nothing new for his Mississippi State Bulldogs, as they've been playing with a target on their back since game #1 of the season. First, it was being the nation's runner-up. Then it was the undefeated season. Now it's the #1 attached to the front of their name. Schaefer believes his Bulldogs have already proven that they can succeed when getting everyone's best shot.
That's hard to do. Let's be honest. That's really hard to do. And, you know, up until we get beat in the championship game of the Southeastern Conference tournament, they're playing with that undefeated, you know, that's a pretty heavy anchor that you're carrying around, you know, and they handled it like a champ.
Senior guard Ro Johnson was not here in Kansas City on Thursday as she was attending her grandfather's funeral. Head coach Vic Schaefer says, barring anything unexpected, Ro will be here Friday and suited up, ready to play NC State. Tip-off between the Bulldogs and the Wolfpack here in the Sweet 16 is set for 6 p.m. coming up on Friday. Make sure you tune into WCBI Sports all throughout Friday as we continue our coverage of the Bulldogs looking to be one win closer to bringing home yet another NCAA Regional Championship. Reporting here inside the Sprint Center in Kansas City, Tom Ebel for WCBI Sports. Robbie, we'll send it back to you in Columbus.
All right, thanks, Tom. Again, Friday, 6 p.m. is the tip-off time. You can watch the game on ESPN. We'll have more from Tom, hopefully throughout the weekend as the Bulldogs continue their run to Columbus, Ohio. By the way, keep an eye on the rebounding margin. NC State 8th in the country in rebounding margin, so if MSU's going to win the game, got to keep the Wolfpack off the glass. Let's get to baseball action from tonight. College Station Series opener for 5th-ranked Ole Miss as the Rebels taking on 12th-ranked Texas A&M. Top 3, A&M had the lead. Now they don't. Nick Fortes, 2-run shot. You're not catching this. It would be a 2-1 lead after the top half of the third. A&M would equalize and tie it at 2 after 3. Then in the 5th, it starts getting wacky. Aaron Walter is going to double this one to left. It's actually going to be a ground rule double, and that works to Ole Miss's favor because the Aggies would have gotten 2 home. Instead, it's just 1. Will Etheridge would shut the door after that, so it would be a 4-2 lead for the Aggies after 5. To the 8th, Thomas Dillard lifting one into left. That's a base knock, scoring Ryan Olenek, but Logan Foster having issues in left. That would score Nick Fortes, which would give the Rebels the lead 5-4 after 8. Then in the 9th, Parker Caracci would deal. He would come in and shut the door, got out of a bases-loaded jam in the 8th here. One more strikeout, 1 of 5 Ks in 2 innings for Caracci. Rebels win at 5-4. They start the series with a win. They're now 21-2 overall. Fast pitch action from Friday night, or Thursday night, I should say. I get all my days mixed up. Is it Thursday or is it Friday? It's Thursday. Columbus traveling to Tupelo, taking on the defending 6A champs. Maya Ferguson starting one off, lifting one to the right. That would be a base knock, scoring a run. Tupelo then adds to their lead. Gracie Rutherford putting this one into the gap in right center. That would score 2 more. Tupelo goes up 4-0. Home team, though, just warming up. Paris Lehman going to drive in 2 more with this single to right center. That would add it to make it a 9-0 lead for Tupelo. Then Ivy Watts would go yard after this. We know she can swing it, and she strokes one here. Tupelo would win it 15-0 as they take the doubleheader sweep over Columbus. And then lastly, Morville taking on Caledonia. Some good fast pitch action from a Thursday night. Top two no score. Addison Biffle going to rip a liner to center for a base hit. That was good for a single. But still in the inning, bases would be loaded for Carly Sullivan. She would rip a liner to short. Maddie Suggs can't handle it initially, but she would get the force at third. That would score Reagan Sullivan, giving the Lady Troopers a 1-0 lead. But Caledonia would come all the way back in the fourth inning as they would get the win 4-2. Over Moorville. Also want to mention Grady Gardner signed with Nettleton. Congratulations to him. We have more on his signing on our website. You can find it there at WCBI.com. That is all we have for sports. Last week's forecast is next.
All right, here's our 7-day forecast. We're looking at near 70 degrees tomorrow, well into the 70s. The 70s on Saturday. It would be a great day to go out maybe to a backyard pool or something.
Oh, it would be perfect.
I don't think we're going to have as much sun, though, Saturday versus what we had today, but it will be warmer.
Saturday would be the day to do it, too. That's 77 degrees.
We're working for the weekend, as the song says.
Oh, yeah, always. All right. Thanks, Keith. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. We'll see you tomorrow.